We are no longer slaves. August morning come and gone. We are proud and free and looking forward to a jubilant Independence 53. Today we are coming to you from Regardless in St. Andrew, the former home of national hero, the Right Excellent Norman Washington Manley, one of the architects of independent Jamaica. And as we explore Regardless today, we're also going to be providing you with some safety tips as you use the roads during this Independence weekend. Of course, the magazine unfolds right now, so don't go away. I'm Adrian Atkins.
So everybody make we time the line, celebration again, independent time.
For Independence 2015, the Randy Williams Entertainment Center is the place to be. From August 1 to 6, the Hope Road location will be transformed into an Independence Village. Come out every day at midday for lots of cultural fun and excitement. Lunch or concerts, cultural discussions, a kiddies village, displays with distinct Jamaican pieces, nightly entertainment, and food can done. For more information, call JCDC at 926-5726-9 or email library at jcdc.gov.jm. Independence 2015, proud and free Jamaica 53.
Here's something you may not know about Norman Washington Manley. He was a track star. In fact, he set a national record in the 100-yard dash. Of course, this was unbroken for over 40 years. You know, Jamaicans are known for speed on the track, but unfortunately, we take that speed on our roads. This week on Issues and Answers, we explore that important matter of road safety.
Thanks for joining us for Issues and Answers. I'm Ian Boyne. Today we deal with the very critical issue of road safety. The deaths on our roads are a major concern. Something has to be done. We have brought together two persons who are intimately involved in road safety. We have with us the head of the road safety unit, Mr. Kenute here, as well as the head of the Traffic and Highway Division, Senior Superintendent of Police, Calvin Allen. And we really want to talk about what can be done, especially at this season of the year, to reduce road fatalities. Gentlemen, good to have you on the show. Can you want to begin with you by asking, what are you seeing at the road safety unit? To what would you attribute this, the alarming increase in fatalities on the road? What is your analysis?
The analysis is showing wanton misuse of the roadway by road users. The indiscipline that presently permeates our society has reared its ugly head on the road network. Mm-hmm. We see a phenomenon for the first time in 30 years whereby motorcyclists is our #1 problem now.
With motorcyclists?
Yes. And they are running away from pedestrians at an exponential speed.
So last year, pedestrians accounted for the largest number.
Portion. Right now, 60 motorcyclists have been killed.
60 for the year?
They are all males. Mm-hmm. The usage of helmet is minute.
Oh, they're not using the helmets.
Less than 3 motorcyclists who have been killed so far wore a helmet. All males. Mm-hmm. Majority belonging to the under 35 age group.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Productive young males.
Mm-hmm.
One would have thought that it would have been due to the fact that they are using these bikes for bike taxi, but that's not the case.
That's not the case?
No, that's not the case. It's mostly them alone on the bike. Oh. It has reared its ugly head in the parish of Westmoreland. Westmoreland is the #1 parish for motorcyclists. 1 in every 2 deaths in Westmoreland is a motorcyclist. So when I get the call from the police, somebody died in the West, first question I ask, is it a motorcyclist? And 1 in every 2. We see excessive speeding continue to be the major factor that contributes to the fatalities. And we see a fatality in St. Mary yesterday along the Wilderness Main Road. The deformation of a motor vehicle, and road users need to understand this. There's a strong relationship between the deformation of the motor vehicle, the damage to the motor vehicle, and the damage inside of your body.
Yes.
Right? So when we speed
Yes. Hold it.
and crash, and we see the vehicle crumple up, it's the same way the organs in the side of our bodies are crumpling up. And drivers and passengers need to understand this and need to respect this, because the laws of energy is not a respecter of persons, you know.
It's true.
Right? And we have a lot of disrespecting of these laws on the network.
Yes.
And hence we have 199 persons being killed on the network. We still have the situation with pedestrians using the roadway inappropriately, crossing where they feel like crossing. You would have seen a program done recently where the pedestrian just step out in the road and expect the motor vehicle to stop. The motor vehicle cannot stop. The vehicle don't stop like that.
Yes.
First and foremost, the driver first need to be able to see you first. There's a section of the eye known as the fovea. If the object is not in your fovea, you will not be able to see, right? So this habit of stepping out into the road, it must stop, right? It has contributed to the death of 45 pedestrians. Over 50% of the road users killed are vulnerable road users. There's a reason why they are called vulnerable. Because there are no cage around them to protect them and to absorb any energy from a motor car. There's a cage, and it's normally built a crumple zone. So when the crash occurred, some of the energy is absorbed and it slows down the amount of energy that come after the human body to take out the human body, right? So the vehicle provides that. But the pedal cyclists, the motorcyclists, and the pedestrian, they absorb the speed of the vehicle at an exponential rate. The pedestrian, he or she absorbs up to 100% of the speed, dependent on the motor vehicle that hit them. If a truck hits a pedestrian, if one of those big bus hits a pedestrian, they absorb 100% of the speed that vehicle is going. A motor car, they absorb about 90% of the speed. And the reason why 90% is because for some point in time, the human body is on the body of the vehicle. And then it's thrown up. And when the head connects with the asphalt, trust me, you will never see a piece of asphalt in a hospital bed being repaired. It's the human being that is in the hospital bed seeking medical attention. And when the head hits that tough piece of asphalt at that speed that vehicle is going, because it's the speed at which that vehicle hits you at, you know. That's the speed your head and your body is going to connect that ground.
Break you off here now so we can contemplate that. Canute is usually graphic, but he needs to be graphic so that we can understand what is involved before it's too late. We're talking road safety issues today, important issues. We'll take a break, but we'll be right back.
They were heading home, playing in the streets just like they always did. When
I'll see you again.
My name is Sheldon Bell. I barely survived. My friend, she didn't. I'm now much more careful on the road. You should be too.
330 Jamaicans died in road crashes in 2014. 99 of the deceased were pedestrians. Road users, obey road rules. Walk, drive, and ride with care. Remember, road safety begins with you.
too many crashes on our roads. That's why we are front and center in this issue of road safety today on Issues and Answers. We have the head of the road safety unit, Mr. Kenute, here, and the head of the traffic and highway division of the JCF, Senior Superintendent of Police, Calvin Allen. SSP Allen, tell us, what are the enforcement measures that are being put in place? Because if people won't use common sense, if people don't work in their own rational interests, you know, then law enforcement has to help to bring some sanity. What is being done by the police?
One of the key strategies of the constabulary is presence.
Yes, and I see it a lot in Kingston.
Yes, yes, and I'm happy you're seeing it.
I'm seeing it a lot, day and night.
It is also replicated right across the island.
It is.
However, even though the police is present on our roadways, and not just traffic police, but other policemen under the direction of the commissioner, from time to time we want to ensure that the citizens feel safe, knowing that the police is on the roadway. But you still find that from our analysis, some 80% of the fatal crashes that we have had so far are due to human error. And Kenute would have spoken very passionately, and I must say that I support him 100% in his efforts at the road safety unit towards the goal and objective that we both seek to achieve. We have been on our roadways. As recent as yesterday, I led a team into the parish of St. James, which is one of the parish in focus, not just from the perspective of road fatalities, but otherwise.
Activities, yes.
And within this space of 4.5 hours, we would have prosecuted over 300 breaches of the Road Traffic Act.
Yes.
In fact, the one that stands out in my mind is a well-dressed, suited professional.
Yes.
Going to his job, he was driving a motorcycle.
Motorcycle?
Motorcycle. Very nice motorcycle also.
Oh.
But when we checked his documents, that motorcycle was not licensed from 2013. And I just use that as an example to show off the various challenges we have on our roadways. I said to some colleagues of mine that if you journey into the parish of Savannah Namar, over 400 seized motorcycle is at the station. But what is ironic is that the owners of those motorcycles, they are not coming back to claim those bikes, but you will see them the following day on a new bike. And so our investigation is showing where what we would call this easy money is coming from.
So there's a connection between a lot of scamming
we are seeing
and
some
the proliferation
connection.
of these
We are seeing some connection. Your cyclist sees, we require you to now come with your documents to claim and to go and have it registered. That is not happening on the roadway at all. The wearing of protective helmet by our motorcyclists, Kenute would have alluded to the fact that we have lost 60 motorcyclists since the start of this year. About 3 days ago, I was signing some of the accident investigation and reconstruction reports. And so in that report is the photographs of what transpired. And, you know, it brought home to me that my staff at that unit need to get regular counseling based on the graphic nature of what we were seeing in those instances. So excessive speeding, Sir Boyne, continues to be one of the main factors in that regard. And although the police would be out there, although we would prosecute, although we breath test, you find that as soon as that motorist leaves the scene where the checkpoint is, within no time they go back to their whole
behavior.
Yes.
And then you have the regular practice of motorists alerting others that where police is down the road and
a man is flashing their headlamp, indicating that police is down the road. But the point about that is it should never reach to that stage where you have to be alerted by fellow motorists for you to curve your behavior.
Yeah, should be
right? So it is that internal discipline that we want from our motoring public, for them to really understand the dangers of our roadways.
Are there particular hotspots that are policed more intensely? Because you would have done the analysis as to where most of the accidents take place.
Yes.
So isn't there a particular focus by the police on those areas?
Indeed. In fact, it is more than just spots. There are some parishes that we give more attention to than others. Westmoreland.
And yet you still have the
Westmoreland.
Yes.
St. Anne, Clarendon, Kingston and St. Andrew, and St. Catherine are some of the parishes that continues to produce most of our fatal crashes. And we have done in-depth analysis, not only to look at the spots, the bad spots, but also the time of day where most of these accidents occur. And so we skew our deployment as against those analyses. And
we're still having the crashes, and in fact an increase. So what's going wrong, Kenut?
I think
between the policy and the operation, what's going on?
For road safety to succeed, and for us to be able to seriously stem the tide of traffic crash, we have to have what we call a road safety social contract. And this road safety social contract must be imbibed by the population.
Yes, it's a culture.
Right? And because no amount of police, no amount of education, re-engineering of the network alone will solve. This thing depends a lot on the human behavior. Final message to the people. Those of us out there who love robots, rest assured, if these robots should crash and you are injured, you have to sue the driver and the owner. There is no insurance policy for roboting. Desist from taking those needless risks. We receive the calls, at least 10 calls per week. Our destiny is not left up to any chance. It's a matter of our choice. Let us make the proper choice out there.
Sobering words from the head of the Road Safety Unit, Mr. Kenut, here. And he was joined today by SSP Calvin Allen, who is head of the Traffic and Highway Division of the Jamaica Constabulary Force. We have to deal with this serious issue of road fatalities. Every one of us has to do his part. Until next week, Ian Bourne wishing you a pleasant day.
Yes, it's Emancipation and Independence time again. Between July 31 to August 6, lots of fun and exciting island-wide celebrations await you. Independence concerts, community church services, festival bandwagons, street dances, and lots more. And guess what? Festival fashion is back. The theme, bandana with denim, catch the fashion rhythm. So for this festival season, young, old, boy, girl, get your bandana and denim outfits and let's celebrate Jamaica in style. For more information, call JCDC at 926-5726-9 or email library@jcdc.gov.jm. Independence 2015, proud and free Jamaica 53.
Since we get free pop style, make the whole world see.
It is really a pleasure to talk with you, Mr. Henriquez. I know that you wear many, many hats.
Too many.
Exactly. And of course, you have been the chairman of the Norman Manley Foundation since 1989. But many Jamaicans, or I should say Jamaicans, know that Norman was born at Roxboro in Manchester. Not very many Jamaicans know that he was actually living here at Regardless. I want you to talk to me a little bit about this property, the history.
Well, my understanding, I'm a little bit younger than Norman Manley, obviously, but he bought Drumblair back in the early 20s, and he lived there. It was a large property. It crossed over the Sandy Gully, and he lived there until after the 1962 election. He sold that property, and this house was built by, I believe, A.D. Scott. And Norman Manley lived here, died here. His wife Edna Manley also lived here, died here, and his son Douglas lived here, and then he died here at the end of during last year. As a result of his death, the property became vacant and for the responsibility of the Norman Manley Foundation. So here we are, unfortunately not in a property that is easily displayable, because we are really just in the process of thinking the process of how we are going to restore it and how we're going to display it as as the one only site in Jamaica other than his birthplace, where Norman Manley actually lived and Edna Manley lived. And we're standing actually in front of her studio, which was where she was working until the day she died. But Drumbley was really where the inspiration and his creation of all of the good things he created for Jamaica. And he is termed son of Jamaica, father of the nation, or son of Manchester, father of the nation. So in that sense, I mean, if Drumbley existed, the walls of Drumbley would have many, many stories to tell. His role in democracy in the Caribbean, his role in creating, and with his wife, the culture that we presently enjoy. Not all of it, obviously, but he was a major catalyst, and they were a major catalyst. Drumbley was a major center for our intellectual community.
And soon this property will be restored.
What we are looking to achieve is the fact that the country over 4 generations created a number of very interesting people. And so what we want to look at is what was the country like in the 1860s when his father, or the 1850s when his father was born, as well as his mother, up in Manchester, his own early childhood as another generation, living at Belmont, living at Roxboro for a few years, and then moving to be a teacher, earning the Rhodes Scholarship, etc. And then looking at the lives of Norman and Douglas, of Michael and Douglas themselves. And then you come to the present generation. We're starting with a family that only really knew how to move around the country on either a donkey or horseback or maybe a buggy.
Thank you very much for that bit of information, Mr. Henriquez. It was a pleasure talking with you. And so we're going to be getting more facts on the birthplace of Norman Washington Manley. The place we're talking about is Roxboro in Manchester.
This place is too powerful and certainly too important to our national memory to have been laying in ruin. The walls of Roxboro must enshrine the story of the social, political, and economic transformation that Norman Manley brought to this country and certainly shone to the rest of the world.
And so it shall. On July 4, 2013, a museum reflecting the life, work, and passion of the former Premier of Jamaica and national hero Norman Washington Manley was opened. Let's get the facts now on this national treasure. Did you know that housing projects such as Mona Heights, Harborview, and Doheny Park in St. Andrew were all conceptualized and started under the leadership of Norman Manley? And did you know that the Beach Control Law of 1956 was introduced by him to ensure that all Jamaicans had the same access to our beaches as visiting foreigners? Well, those and other facts can be read from the displays mounted in the hallowed halls of Roxboro, Manchester, the birthplace of Norman Manley. They help to tell the story of his legacy and keep his memory alive.
It is our hope that even this restored place and the humility of what we see that Norman Manley was born in and in some cases developed in will imbue the spirit of social consciousness that led him, for his example, to use his own money to spawn Jamaica welfare.
History tells us that Norman Manley wasn't a man to wait for things to happen. He believed in taking action to make them happen. Among the long list of his achievements, Manley is known for making significant contribution to the trade union movement in the 1930s. He guided the construction of Gordon House, which remains the country's seat of parliament. And his tireless work in helping to write Jamaica's constitution and win independence from Britain in 1962 is legendary.
He was a passionate social activist who thought at first his advocacy for the poor and disenfranchised was best served through his social work. He regarded community effort as a pillar for national development.
Roxboro also opens up the lighter side of Norman Manley, his family history from his roots, and his love of Edna. The couple courted for only 3 months before they got married. Edna and Norman enjoyed each other's company and spent a lot of time together. They even had nicknames for each other. Edna called him Kid, and he called her Jimmy Sunshine. Ever the romantic, Norman wrote Edna several love letters, excerpts of which are on display. Besides his adoring wife, Norman Manley had a passion for the arts. He loved dancing, music, and the theater. The Roxboro Museum also reveals personal information about N.W. Manley, like the story behind his middle name. Washington was deliberately chosen by his parents to draw on the courageous spirit of U.S. President George Washington, who took on the British as Commander-in-Chief of the Continental Army. And did you know that Manley was a teacher before he became a lawyer? He taught at Jamaica College as assistant master, moving on to Titchfield High in Portland and Hope Farm in St. Andrew.
Norman Washington Manley, he's a man that I would have loved to have known, because I see so many qualities in him that are so important for taking us to the next great phases of our development, one of which was unity, courage, and humility.
More than a century after his birth and decades after his death, the museum satisfies the curiosity about a man who was a champion of the people and a nation builder. Roxboro's restoration is the result of collaboration involving several state agencies and ministries. The project cost $11 million, an investment in the preservation of our nation's history. The museum is open to Jamaicans free of cost, Mondays to Fridays from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Sinner who has hurt all mankind just to save his own believing. One love, one heart, let's get together and feel alright.
This is where we close the pages of the magazine for today. Tomorrow we'll take you to Blenheim in Hanover, the birthplace of another national hero, Sir Alexander Bustamante. We'd like to hear from you though, so send us an email. Send it to jamaicamagazine@gis.gov.jm or follow us on Twitter @JISNews. On behalf of the entire team here at the JIS, I'm Adrian Atkinson signing out from Regardless in St. Andrew, former home of national hero, the Right Excellent Norman Washington Manley.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.